Hello again and aloha. Time is, my watch says 12 o'clock. Just about 12 o'clock, 11:56. I think Sunday 22nd of the August. Last night I spoke to you a little bit about the things that are related to the matter of what's happening in the United States. I'm just telling you tonight again, my reason is that somehow Baha'i faith has showed a lot of interest about the United States as being the center of what we call right now the civilized world, and the fact that they have done few good things. There has been, both ways. When Baha'i faith deals with the United States, Shoghi Effendi basically says it's a perfect system, except that's regional. There's only one region of the world that has that. If it was spread on the entire planet, it would be different. And sometimes also it says that we are witnessing the fall of the Roman Empire in the Republic of America. This is the Roman Empire that's going to go down. It would be a very sad day that day, for me anyways. So, since I'm an elder of God and interpreter of the writing of Baha'u'llah, Abdu'l and Shoghi Effendi, it falls in my jurisdiction to pay a bit of attention as what's happening. So tonight I'm going to be talking to you about what is an ideal presidency. Who is an ideal candidate? Let's say if I were to go running for the President of the United States, which I'm a Canadian, naturally I cannot. But if I were to, what would I do? What would I say to people? So usually when we go from here to Toronto, the subject is very boring. So as I drive, I give note to my wife and she writes it down, just like that. You see if you can read it. And then once Lisa does that, I come down and turn it into this, and then put it in front of me, and then I think what to say. So, the very first thing, everybody knows, United States by the politician is being turned into some political clubs. Just it's like a sport. They're fighting or they're electing, and not really for the reason of what is at the stakes for their life. Many people are voting because the guy looks good or looks bad. Some vote because the way he speaks or he talks. But are there really people voting for a person, never mind what he says? But what has he done and what he can do? Or what is, the resume of this person? But the way I look at it right now, it seems Donald Trump is the only guy that is different, and he could be the good one. Also, he could be a bad one. We don't know. So what do? This gridlock of politics in the United States, where president could be from one political party, and the Congress and Senate, they could be from different parties. Nobody can get along under these situations. So I've been thinking what to do. I'm giving you a solution. That's my thinking. I think this has to be legally set through the Constitution. If they need an amendment, so they do it. That political parties are vehicles and means to get elected. The Republican, Democrat, or anything else. But once get elected into the office, whether it's a governor or congressman or senator or especially president, the party affiliation has to be removed, has to die out. At the time when president gets elected, he's not a Democrat, he's not a Republican anymore. He's the president of all the people, and he should not be branded as he's to this party, therefore I am a Republican, and then I cannot vote for him. So they stop each other only simply because of simple name. And whereas if you read, between with all the differences that they try to magnify, Republican and Democrats are so similar. Moreover, when the president, whether a Republican or Democrat, when they get elected, they behave completely differently. Clinton was totally a Republican when it comes to money management and economy. I don't know what to make out of George Bush presidency. I think he was a treasonist. He has to be put in court, him and his gangsters, for killing so many Americans and so many people in Iraq, and basically creating this upheaval. People like Rumsfeld has to be trialed, So this is why I like Donald Trump, because he objected at him and what they've done there. No politician has the guts even to say that, but we said. Yet he's running for the Republican Party. This is why there are some element in this man that might be, I just think it might be different. But who knows? So that's my number one, I think, solution, that political affiliation, once gets elected into the office, has to be legally removed. They should not be. I think the government has to have a serious statistics, whatever, to explain to the people in number what the situation is. How many people are sick? How many people are on drug? How many people are this and that and that? It doesn't have to be on the internet. This has to be very simply in 10-15 minutes talk to be given to the people every month at least, so they know where they are. What Americans look like from up above. When we're down below, we don't know it. I think internationally, they should totally stop intervening and interventions in anything that is the part of their national business in the world, yet they have to defend themselves according to the internal changes if it's got to do anything with America. So, in that way, there has to be, in my opinion, a committee of a scientific, absolutely scientific, not partisans, to explain to the people of Iran, if they want to start a revolution, where they are, what's their money situation, what these changes should happen, this and that, like a guidance. Publish it, give it, and throw it, if you want, from airplane on all the people. So let them to know, but that's all. Further than that, it's not necessary. I think any president that is coming right now have to acknowledge that the United States, after the fall of the Soviet Union especially, has lost its national mandate. They're no longer the government of the United States, they're the government of the world sometimes. Because they're not doing anything for people in the United States. All they're doing things abroad. What's this army that 1/3 of the money of the budget goes to? What does it do for American? Zero. So, if this is the case, in my opinion, this federal power has to be gradually but quickly be given to the states. Let them run their business and bring the federal government sizes down very, very small. Let it be the government of the states, not the government of the people. Government of the people are those who are controlling the people in a state where people walk on that land. We can say now we need a government. I'm walking on this land, in this city and in this estate. So I can't be walking on Michigan and as well as United States. The two parties cannot charge me taxes. I'm in Michigan, therefore I have to pay tax to the government of Michigan. Government of Michigan decides, after spending all their money, whatever extra they have, they give it to the federal government to control the states and some of the international affair that is necessary. It's outside of the states, including army. This, in my opinion, has to happen on one hand, but on the other hand, because of all the means that we have made in this so-called free enterprise or anarchy, I call it, inevitably have made us all get connected together. How much we know about people in Japan or China or everywhere. How much you know the people, then you're very close to them, getting closer. So this is making us that we have no choice but to go towards the unity that is required, which is the management of this things that we're making. The moment you make things like cell phone or this or that, means of communication, immediately there has to be a social order for it. So why don't we start super federalism between United States, Canada, England, Australia and New Zealand at the first, and then bring the rest of the people who are wanting to be the part of it, starting from Europe and onwards. This, in my opinion, is a must. It has to be done. The federal mandate of the federal government of the United States is outside of the boundary of the people's need. So, a good president has to set out right now, seriously, to get rid of all the guns in the hand of people. In the United States, there's a great machinery that can do this, and that is the army. If it is necessary, make a martial law. Whatever the president seems is necessary, after he talks to all the people, and no bipartisan. It's just the people are getting elected. They have to think about this, what to do. Getting rid of it completely and not allowing it to be in the hand of people unless it's necessary, and the necessity of it should come based on the vulnerability of the situations. For example, in a household where 10 years old and 12 years old and 15 years old, there shouldn't be no gun. I don't care where. But if there's a couple of old people or even younger people, they're in a remote place, in somewhere that they could be vulnerable, under certain circumstances, you should be given, permit to have it. But you can't get rid of it from the hand of the people after the civil war has happened. There has to be a serious machinery to systematically do this. The other thing that I think it should be done, the United States Army, it's a gift if you use it. As I agree with Donald Trump, it should not be sent to be used by other people in the world for the national purposes of the countries. Freedom has to be earned, cannot be given. Certainly American lives cannot, shed blood there for these things. If they want it, they have to pay for it. And you can, if you want, in a way, certain part of the Pentagon could be privatized to deal with these needs, if they need money. But one thing that this army has to do, it has done its work for the people of the world. We know that, okay? Without them, there would be no Japan and no Korea and no South Africa, no Europe. My God. It is because of this army a lot of peace is created in the world. But politicians have misused it and has caused some other problem as well. So that time is gone and done. Right now the army has to be used, in my opinion, because it's a federal institution, to completely rebuild America. All the roads, all the bridges, all the water resources, environment, the entire issue dealing with these disasters, these tornadoes, anything that's nationally is beyond the boundary of one state, army has to be called in. They have to act as the guardian of the people of the United States. Enough is enough, you see. It's frustrating, for a lot of people. So we have to do this, I think. So we have to rise ourselves. If I was an American, I am, but I'm Canadian as well. I think we have to, since we do not introduce Baha'i faith, which is the solution of God, into this, let's do some science at least, and raise the bar when it comes to human right. For example, do we have a definition for the right of unborn? Can anybody of the 300 million people in the United States can tell me that? A child can be born out of a mother who has AIDS. Is it okay a child born out of a person who has Fiddle syndrome? Especially things that are not naturally occurring. That's a little different. But when the person is a drug and they're not careful, they're bound to bring a child who is sick in this world. It has to be, for the sake of the right of unborn, laws to be legislated to stop this, to prevent this. This is my firm belief. And for the same purpose, there has to be a serious media control in the United States, again to protect the human right. People are not supposed to see through the media all these movies, games, videos, internet, magazines that are untrue, that are harmful. And this should not be decided even by the politician. The team of the scientists will have to say that this way of exposing things is wrong. What is a 15-year-old boy supposed to do when he looks at so many pornographies? He's going to go wayward. He's going to use your energies. Instead of loving, all he would think is sex. Instead of thinking, he spends his time on playing games. Well, don't you think government is responsible? Not so much through religion, but through the scientific board, that this is wrong. Just like you control the certain medicines, for example, certain foods, you say cannot come into the market, or these things has to be there. It's on the cigarette. Well, this has to be broadened to all the aspects to protect people against this proliferation of medias going from all their holes inside them, from the ear, from the eye, from everywhere they penetrate to change the mind of people. They don't have any protections, people, on that, The other thing I think that I would suggest is that as we're growing, we're getting closer by these means of medias and everything else. And the people of the earth are known, a billion of them, to be Muslim. It's known there are billions of them are Hindus in India, or Buddhists in China, Japan, other places. Then there has to be a curriculum right in the school, from grade, 1 to the top, that people have to have an outline of what these religions are, because it has created so much chaos in the world and is going to yet. How could there be a society where these Christians, money makers, which are the worst, absolutely the worst type of business, like that Haggy, I don't know what's his name, that he just goes and says thousands of things against the Muslims and Islams. These are derogatory remarks. And it's not going to be good for science, for knowledge, for American. How could it be good to keep an American, a human being, ignorant or misleading him about something that doesn't exist? I saw sometimes ago a book on Buddhism that this fellow, he was comparing the words of Mahatma Buddha, Gautama Buddha they call him, with Jesus Christ, and he was looking at the similarities. I assure you there are more similarities between the word of Jesus and Muhammad than it is with Buddha. Why don't we tell the truth to the people? Don't you think in a situation where millions of Muslims are suffering under the stupidity and foolishness of their spiritual leaders that are thousands times worse than this Hagi, and all they're out there teaching perversion to the Muslims, wouldn't that be good if the United States of America says, okay, we're not into religion, essentially. Basically, we're Christian, but it's not a part of our government. But since we see you're so much eager into knowing, and there's nobody here to explain what Islam is, we are creating a board to tell you what this religion is. What are the things wrong? They're exactly according to the texts. And for this matter, you don't need to use even Muslims. Go right there to the scientific data. They're all translated in English. And maybe you can save a lot of youth that are falling into the abyss of this black hole called Islam right now. It was a sun that is dead. It is like a black hole right now. The more closer to you get to it, the more you get sunken into it. It's the same with Christianity. But people, they know it now. They don't fall into these ideologies of the Jehovah's Witnesses or Mormons. They call themselves Mormons, but they want more women's. Or so many other sects. There's some crazy sects out there. I saw once a couple of years ago, the guy believed that they have to bring a snake and serpent into the church and be with it and sleep with it. What kind of an extrapolation is this from the religion? But because it's an open society in the United States, people are not baffled by these things. Those to go to it, well, they go to it, you know. But at least there are so many other options for them. Same option doesn't exist for the Muslims in other countries. Maybe the Muslims in the United States of America, they have to say enough is enough. We are going to pay for it ourselves. We're making a proper investigations. We're going to write a book that constitutes Islam from beginning to the end, in their relationship with other religion, in how they conduct their families, what are their relations to their personalities. Why can't they do this? You know, I think these are just a few little stuff that I put my nose into it. So, and my beef in this is that you have to know the person who works for God, such as me, Baha'u'llah, that's who I work for, we're not as stupid. And we're not indifferent. We exactly know where you guys are going. We see it. But our interference is not more than this, that I come from one small town in North America on a very small camera just to tell you this. To me, that is really enough, because if this is a solution and you're in a dire need, you'll get it it will spread and it'll go. But if you're not, therefore you have to take your consequences, and you're going to die under it, you're going to have to suffer under it. Because if you don't suffer under your ignorance, you're not going to grow up to the reality, and you will not develop your willpower. Us in the Department of Divinity, we know what's going on. For example, I know why Donald Trump is bringing this derogatory remarks about the minority. He likes to create a chaos. He knows if he gets elected, this means almost like a civil war. Why is that? It's because he wants to say that, okay, guys, you saw it, it's not, you can't control it in the city or a state. I'm moving in, and he's going to create martial law on that estate or in that city. He will. And under that pretenses, he is going to do a lot of other things. He's even planning to make, after he gets elected, the people to just vote only for the candidate he puts his finger on. He sees in his mind that he's going to go make the Congress and Senate, once they're all him, to make him permanent President of the United States. He basically is planning to be a good Hitler. That's what he's thinking to do. If you want to be a dictator, then you have to be seriously a good person. You know who's the greatest dictator of all? God. Jesus Christ is the dictator. He dictates what to do, what not to do. He says, I am the way, he says. We can't go through any other way. These are dictatorial words, but they're true though. They're real. You see? So if you want to be a dictator, you have to be a great, seriously pious, spiritual, a great person. You have to be completely dedicated to the cause. But Donald Trump might grow to be that person. Right now, he's kind of an embryo. It's an embryonic stage of his development. What he's suffering from, I'm a divine psychologist, I'll talk about that. He's suffering from achievement deficit disorder. His achievement has not been enough for him. He wants more. And the things he wants is not any longer physical. He has all of that. He wants social pleasures, social achievement. One of which is he thinks he can straighten up the matters in the United States of America. He has all the credential to do, in my opinion. But my God, such a job requires a great amount of humility. So much humbleness is required. You see how humble was the greatest social man of the entire planet, George Washington. There is nothing bigger than him. Has never been. 3 of them I told you before. The Ashok, King Cyrus, King Ashok of India, and him. But how humble he was, you see. How humble was Abraham Lincoln. Persian, they say, a tree that has a lot of fruit, the branches are down because the weight of the fruit makes the branches down. Meaning a fruitful person has to be humble. I don't see those humbleness in him. But to me, telling the truth is also a sign of humbleness. He's trying, I don't know. As I said, this is into the will of the collective. The collections of Americans, they have elected, that big collective has elected Barack Obama and exonerated the nation of America to be racist. Anybody calls America racist has to go to hell, has to put his face into a toilet. As a nation, as the collective power, United States is not, absolutely is not a racist country. Now, but here and there you see people and they're sure that collective is like us, like a person. Which person have you seen in the world that functions 100%? But still, the collective is in control, and that is why Barack Obama gets elected. And that collective is in the way, and we cannot interfere in its will. He has to do what he has to do. If Donald Trump, by the sounds of it, is going to get there, as I told you last night, if America's completely sick, this is the tumor that's going to kill it. Or if it's not that sick and it's feeling ill, well, this is also a solution to it and might fix it. All right, God be with you. Allahu Akbar.